Hello, and welcome to my quad chimps guide with level 20 Sauda and a bunch of other cool stuff. This is gonna be fun. Also, quick disclaimer, this is not the easiest strategy out there. If you want that, use my Dragon Breath spam or my other two, I don't remember. But first, we're gonna want to place a dart monkey right over here as left and as central as possible. This one wants to go as bottom and as central as possible. And this one needs to go as central as possible while only the right ear is inside of the bush. And if you've gotten these three placements right, you can beat round 6 with no issues. And then, for round 7, set your left dart monkey to strong until it's hit the first green. And after that, just set it back to first. For round 8, you want to place a sub right over here as high as possible in the pool, while still being able to see a decent bit of the right track. And you're also going to want to set it to strong. And then, after round 8, you'll upgrade it to longer range, because we kind of need that for round 9. For round 10, you're going to want to set your sub to first. Before round 12, place Sauda right over here, as high and as central as possible. You can technically place Sauda right at the end of round 11, but that's kind of hard, and I don't want to do that. Also, make sure to set Sauda to close. Before 14, place a sniper right over here, and set it to strong. And then, before 15, place an NG right over here, and keep that one on first. Whenever you can afford it, or just at some point before 19, upgrade your sub to a 201 intel with twin guns. Once you've gotten this guy, you're going to want to upgrade your sniper to a 100 full metal jacket, because we'll need it for leads anyway, and it helps out on 22 and 23. I buy it here on 21, but you can buy it earlier, just at some point before 22. That's all that really matters. I don't think it's possible to die on 22 because you literally have a full metal jacket sniper, a sub, and an NG, and Sauda. So yeah. And then before 25, upgrade your sub to airburst. We need to get Energizer later anyway, so getting airburst now is an efficient option. And then whenever you can afford it, place a spike factory right over here in such a way so that it can barely hit the track. You want it to have the lowest spread possible. And then upgrade your engineer to a 102 sentry with pin, and then get it to a sprockets afterward. Now that we've gotten sprockets, we can AFK for just a little bit. And by just a little bit, I mean, like, until the end of 34, because 34 is free and no one has ever thought about it. You're going to want to place a wizard in such a way as high as possible below the track so that the top part of the range border touches the bottom part of that little brown circle on the flower. And then you're going to upgrade it to a 022 wall of fire and set it to close. That is very important because we don't want it to be hitting the left side for whatever reason. We want it to be hitting the balloons that actually matter here. And then before 37, you're going to want to upgrade your sniper to a 102. I forgot to do this and almost lost because of that, so fun. I panicked right over here, like right now, and bought it. If you buy it before the round, it won't get close at all, but if you buy it mid-round while the leads are already there, it'll get very close to dying, and you'll be very sad if you die. Because dying is not fun in TD6. And then, at some point before round 40, or just whenever you can afford it, because why not, upgrade your wall of fire to a Dragon Breath. This guy will basically carry the top side as he allows Sauda to do way more damage. Like, way more damage because of her synergy with damage over time. And then, for 40, just Leaping Sword the MOAB when Sauda is not attacking. And you should just win. And then, at some point before 42, place a village right over here, as top right as possible, and you want the sprockets to be in its range. upgrade it to a 002 and upgrade your spike factory to a 110, and then set Sauda to first. You're going to want to use a leaping sword on the first camo rainbow. I messed up the timing and it accidentally hits the regrow red, and it looks kind of scary over here because it was scary. I should not have won that, but yeah. Now you're also going to want to upgrade your spike factory to a 120, not a 210, but you're going to get it to spike balls later anyway, so it doesn't matter. And speaking of getting it to spike balls, just get it to a 320 spike balls when you can afford it, and then set Sauda back to close. And now, place a 300 Alchemist in the discount range next to your spiked balls. Yeah, I don't really have any comments for this one, just do it. Oh yeah, make sure to not use code Dorio in the TD6 shop. Use code ONME instead, because his country's flag is much more expensive in the trophy store for some reason, and he needs money for that. Anyways, what you're going to want to do is place a village right over here, directly above the track, in such a way that when you upgrade it to bigger range, Sauda will be in its range. And then upgrade it to a 002 discount, and get bigger range, just to make sure Sauda is in the range. It is very important that Sauda is in the range, because if she's not, I'm not sure the rest of this run is even possible. Because we need that jungle drums on Sauda for the late game. It's very close. And then, before 49, place a spike factory right over here in such a way so that it's barely hitting the track. You can probably place it slightly closer to the track than I do, because I got it almost the pixel perfect placement, and it's not needed. And then upgrade that spike factory to a 320 spiked balls, and give it its very own personal 300 alchemist for it. And then, before 51, upgrade your bottom village to jungle drums, and we're going to set Sauda back to first, because we got to use a leaping sword on the bottom side. Use a leaping sword once the first ceramic that comes from the right has started going upwards. That should just allow you to beat the round fairly easily with no issues. For 56, you're going to want to use a leaping sword once the first camo rainbow from the right starts going upward. Same thing as 51. And then set Sauda back to close. And then in the middle of 57, upgrade your bottom spiked balls to spiked mines. This guy will basically be our main DPS for the bottom lane for a while. And then upgrade the top village to a jungle drums as well, because that extra attack speed helps a ton out. And then, place attack shooter as bottom right as possible, right over here, and upgrade it to a 204 Overdrive. You should be able to afford the Overdrive right after 60. And speaking of round 60, you don't actually have to do anything. If you'd like to use some abilities here, you can, but they're not needed. And yeah, before 61, you should be able to afford Overdrive. And then we're going to place another Overdrive directly below the track, as top right as possible, right next to it. Just get another 204 Overdrive. Pretty simple. And then, for 63, all you gotta do, just sword charge the first wave, and you should be fine. Don't use any abilities for the rest of them, because we need it for 64. You should be able to afford the second Overdrive in the middle of 63, which is good, because we kinda need that, and we kinda need it fast. And then, for 64, upgrade your sub to Submergent Support, and I'd recommend using a sword charge and a leaping sword this round, but I don't think you actually have to. Well, I didn't use a leaping sword here, but that had to happen, and we don't like that having to happen, so yeah. And then in the middle of 65, upgrade your Submergent your submergent support sub to a plutonium reactor, and we're going to start the save up toward Energizer. For 71, I'd recommend using a sword charge because it's 71 and it's scary, but I'm not entirely sure you have to. Alright, so we've made it to round 75. Starting from here, it gets a lot harder for the rest of the run, as there are a lot more abilities that we have to use with certain timings. But we're going to want to use a leaping sword right when the BFB going right pops. And we're going to try to avoid using a sword charge at all costs here, because we need it for 76. If you use a sword charge on 75, you're dead 76, so yeah. And speaking of needing a sword charge for 76, use a sword charge on 76. And then use a leaping sword on the BFBs of 77, and sword charge the first wave of 78. Round 80 is surprisingly difficult. What we're going to want to do is, when Sauda stops attacking when the ZOMG is up there, use a leaping sword, and then you're going to want to use a sword charge when it pops into MOABs, and then get Energizer as soon as possible to be able to clean up the balloon inside easier. And now that we've afforded Energizer, it doesn't get any easier, fellas. It's going to get even worse from now. Mid-81, you're going to want to place a 013 glue gunner in between Sauda and your Dragon's Breath, set to strong. And you're also going to want to use a leaping sword and a sword charge here, because your bottom and top sides are getting kind of overwhelmed here, and that's not a good thing. You should be able to afford the 013 glue gunner before the round ends. If you can't, what are you doing? What extra did you buy? And then, before 82, remove the bottom obstacle, and remove... Actually, don't remove the top one yet. We'll do that later. Actually, no, I think we're getting primary training on our bottom village, actually. Yeah. And then place an ice right over here, in discount range, and upgrade it to a 410 embrittlement. And on 82... Yup, we gotta use another leaping sword and sword charge, because this strategy sucks. I'm gonna be 100% honest, the last few abilities in the last few rounds weren't entirely planned. I just came up with them on the spot because I kinda needed to. And yeah, once you've afforded that embrittlement, you're going to want to remove the top obstacle, because that'll allow Sauda to do a bit more damage. And then, you're going to want to place a glue gunner right next to your embrittlement over here, and upgrade it to a 013 MOAB glue set to strong. And you'll have to get it mid-round. And by have to get it mid-round, yeah, you do actually have to get it mid-round. And then, you're also going to upgrade your top glue to a 014 Relentless glue, because it goes very well with Sauda and is kind of needed here. And you'll also get your bottom glue to Relentless after the first ZOMG on 85 pops. You can also use a sword charge to clean up the ZOMG insides, but it is not needed. And after the first ZOMG pops, you should have Relentless glue on your bottom side as well. The run kind of gets easier. Not really. Not at all. What am I saying? It does not get any easier from here. Now you're also going to want to upgrade both of your Relentless glues to 024 Relentless glues. Get the top one first. Well, actually, the order doesn't really matter at all, but yeah, just do it. And then for 87, you're going to want to Leaping Sword the ZOMG, or just use a Leaping Sword once both your glue and your Dragon Breath have attacked the ZOMG coming from the top, and you want to Sword Charge the insides. Yeah, that's really it. That's all you got to do this round. Surprisingly easy? Not really. Actually, that was a lie. Also Leaping Sword the MOAB insides. Not sure if it's entirely needed, but I got kind of scared. And then place a 024 MOAB press boomerang right below, or right next to, your bottom Overdrive. And make sure it's set to strong. That is very important. And also use a sword charge to clean up the top ZOMG insides. You should probably use it a bit later than I do because that'll happen. Or you could just Leaping Sword as well. It's really weird. This entire run is super sketchy and might be completely RNG based, and I'm not sure of that. So yeah, that is not fun. This entire run is not fun. Why are you doing this? You shouldn't be here. Just stop doing this. Actually, no, don't stop doing this. If you're this far, you can probably win. So, yeah, continue doing it. And then, before 90, or just whenever you can afford it, place a 420 Bloon Impact right over here, set to close, and also sword charge the second DDT on the top side because it's kind of important. You should be able to afford your Bloon Impact in the middle of 91, which you don't need it for 91, but we're going to need it for the next few rounds. And by the next few rounds, I mean until the end of the game. And then, before 92, or just mid-92 actually, you're going to place another 024 MOAB press next to your other Overdrive this time, also set to strong. For 92, you're going to use a Leaping Sword on the ZOMGs, and yeah, that's really it. You don't have to sword charge this round. Actually, I'd recommend you not sword charge this round because we need it next round. Well, I'm not actually sure if we need it next round, but it's important to have it for next round just in case we do need it for whatever reason and I'm wrong. But yeah, for 93, I would recommend using a sword charge on the DDTs. It should just clear them up pretty easily. And Sauda's level 19 now, so she does extra fortified damage. Or something. Woo! And then, in the middle of 94, you're going to place a ninja right up here, in range of the discount, and upgrade it to a 040 Bloon Sabotage. You should afford that mid-round. And then for 94, use a Leaping Sword, just at some point, and then use a sword charge to clear up the insides of the top ZOMG. And watch at how the bottom side has 4 ZOMGs while the top side only has 2, because fair. That is definitely fair. This makes no sense. Anyways, yeah, you should get your Sabotage in the middle of 94. Alright, for 95, I guess you can do this mid-round, even though you won't afford it this round, and it's kind of just a waste to do it now. I don't get what I'm doing anymore. I really don't understand what I'm doing anymore in this run. This run is horrible. Yeah, use a sword charge after a few DDTs come on screen, and then use a Sabotage a few seconds after. That should just carry you for the rest of the round, which you kind of need. As you can tell from how I'm talking about this run, it is a complete train wreck. And finally, on 96, we get Sauda level 20. That's pretty cool. On the first wave of fortified MOABs, use the new 3x sword charge thingy and get Bloon Impact on the bottom. Kind of important. And then you're also going to want to sabotage the ZOMGs, because, of course. And then, we're going to want to place a mid-round boomerang right over here. 024 MOAB press set to strong as well. I really don't like that this run has this many mid-round things to do. And then also just use another sword charge to clean up the ZOMG insides, because you kind of have to. Yeah, this run sucks. I don't get why I even did it. But I guess it's cool and you're watching it now, so yeah. And then for 97, I don't know, you probably do more than just a leaping sword here. You could probably get away with using a sword charge because you end up stalling for so long, but we run very low on spikes here and it's kind of scary. Actually, we didn't run low on spikes at all, what am I kidding? Yeah. The bottom ZOMG is going to take 9 years to get stalled, and we're going to start placing our first strike for around 100. Just, yeah, get a ballistic missile somewhere in the Energizer range. And, yeah, bottom side should get destroyed. After 9 years of stalling, that is. And then for 98, Sabo, like, the second the round starts. And then you're going to want to use a leaping sword on the ZOMGs. And then use a sword charge once those ZOMGs start to fully pop. This should just leave the 2 ZOMGs coming from the left side, because if there's more, you're probably going to die. I'm going to be honest, if there's more, you're probably just going to die. You could probably use another leaping sword here anyway, on the insides, but I feel like that could also end up doing worse. I don't know, just do what I do and hope you get the same results. I'm not entirely sure if this transfers perfectly between runs. And then for 99, just sabotage and use the cool sword charge once the ZOMGs. Not the... I'm an idiot. The DDTs are on screen. Upgrade that ballistic missile to a first strike and use it right when the bad starts to go up. And then use a leaping sword. And use a sword charge off cooldown. And then use a first strike off cooldown. Boom. If you've done everything correctly, and it is a lot, you should now have your quad black border with level 20 Sauda and an awesome strat around it. What am I kidding? This strat sucks. Don't use it. Anyways, I hope this guide helped you out. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye. I am so tired.